What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that will always jump off a ladder through glass for me.
No,
JC.
no, I was going to say I would rappel from my very not super high ceiling and come down to the rain and go, ah! But I will not do a fucking flippy dippy onto some fucking sweet glass that will shatter, and I could shatter my fucking body on chairs. I'm not doing that.
So you wouldn't help me, is what you're saying?
Oh no, I would not. I would not do that for you, Adam. I would not do that.
Who the fuck is Adam? Who the fuck is Adam?
I don't know. Adam Cyclops over here with his fucking.
Imagine if I did the whole podcast like this, I wouldn't be able to see a damn thing. Probably better for everybody.
Yeah.
On that note, let's get into this entire part of the show. We've got AEW Revolution. We've got NXT Roadblock that happened. There's some interesting stuff there. Of course, our regular happenstance here with our Raw and SmackDowns and leading up to WrestleMania. There's a lot to talk about. So I think we should talk about what you said was the biggest news item of the week.
Stang. He made it into the pay-per-view at Age of Million, and I didn't hate it. But there was an entire card for Revolution. I will say this: I watched the whole thing for free. Sorry, Tony. Hope you're not listening. But I really like this pay-per-view. I thought this was the best AEW pay-per-view in a very fucking long time. It started with two bangers right off the rip. Like, not a lot to talk about, but Christian Cage retained an absolute banger of a match, had a bunch of gaga, and then Eddie Kingston beat Bryan Danielson in an absolute banger as well. And then Bryan had to show him respect. So I thought they kicked this card off in awesome fashion. Two fan favorite matches like these. I thought these two delivered. It started us off in the right way, and what was a great night.
So anything Christian Cage will all agree is just wonderful. So I don't think we have anything else to say there except just keep on rolling, baby. Keep on rolling.
I never want him to lose that title. I want him to hold that title longer than fucking Roman Reigns has cucked the title in WWE. Because I know it's starting to bother people, and that makes me like it even more.
Oh, just turn up the gas, baby. So the other thing too is so this isn't necessarily a new critique of Eddie Kingston, but I felt like it was definitely on display in this matchup, where it felt like we know Bryan Danielson is Mr. Stiff and Mr. fucking and in the face and kick you and punch you, kick your fucking head in, all that stuff. And I was watching Eddie Kingston, and it just felt like the striking was just the guy was so gassed. And you love Eddie for what he talks about, but I feel like you're never going to be excited for Eddie Kingston in the ring. You know what I mean? So I'm curious how you felt about that matchup, because when I saw it, I was just thinking Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson is really working hard.
Renee called him Daniel Bryan, I believe.
Yeah.
No, that didn't bother me. Because for me, when I watch Eddie, it's different. Because I look at Eddie, and he's not your typical wrestler. He's not in the most amazing shape. But when I watch him, it's like part of the appeal of Eddie is he is like that guy who's just out there, and he gets exhausted. Yeah, he's sloppy. Yeah, it's not pretty. But I think that's why people really love him. And they love to see him go out there. And because I know he's trying his ass off no matter what. How bad it looks, how tired he is, no matter what. The dude does not stop. And that's why I think this matchup kind of resonated with people, because the whole point was to earn Bryan's respect, because Bryan looks at him. He sees a slop jalop and a fucking guy who can't keep up, no cardio, not a good wrestler, all this shit that you were just saying, everyone can say just by looking at him. But he earned his respect because Eddie doesn't give up, and he will keep going until he achieves it. So for me, I really did enjoy this match. I thought it was fun because Sometimes I'm okay with a little slop jalop match because that's what I expect from Eddie, and I have no problem with it because that's fucking Eddie, man.
Our boy Joe Pollock saying depends on the partner. Kingston versus Moxley was tremendous. Now I kind of agree with Joe here. It is a dance partner thing for me where I think like, okay, the problem I have is I like Eddie's promos. They're like the most realistic promos I've seen in a very long time. You feel for him positive, negatively, however he feels, you feel that. The ring work is not like you said, it's slop jalop, but we'll say here is like it's very real. It fits his character. You know, it's not like he's going out there doing fucking planches, so it fits his character. But I kept going back to the clips of their fucking backhands and their fucking strikes, and I'm just like, this guy looked like he was wheezing and should be outside with a fucking cigarette instead. But like, I get it. I like it's only a small critique because again, he's so good at everything else that it's kind of just like you said, it's endearing in a way. And
it's Eddie. I don't know if it's kind of
it paints him tremendously always as an underdog, which is kind of my thing. Like you paint him in the underdog because of these shortcomings. And I think like I don't know if anybody saw it, but I thought it was great on social media. Afterwards, there's an exclusive online where they're talking in the trainer's room, and then like he got his respect, and that whole thing was nice. And that Brian was basically saying like, how he needed to get over himself, essentially. Like, I thought that was a really cool thing. And again, we knock AEW for the storytelling aspects of things, but I think that was a really nice storytelling plot point for everything that they were working on, because I think they're trying to elevate Eddie to a point of like, okay, not only is he a Triple Crown winner, but he's kind of a fan favorite in a way that no matter what he does, they just want to see Eddie.
Yeah, he's a guy we pay to see. Like it just, and that's what he is. That makes him a draw. He's a fan favorite. All those things, because I like to see Eddie Kingston no matter what he does. I don't care if he's the best wrestler. I never have, never will, because that's not who he is. It's nice to have someone like that. But Nestlemania, we're moving on to the next match. This fucking All-Star Scramble, which I'll say this thing was mostly a waste of time and went way too long. But if they would have just done it with the 4 meat men. And that fucking segment of the match was fucking super hot fire when you had fucking Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, Lance Archer, and Brian Cage doing their fucking meat thing. That was fucking awesome. Like, I know you want to save the meat madness because people are out, whatever, but you should have just had these 4 in a fatal 4-way, because they tried to do the thing after the meat men did their little like fucking dance routine. They had the fucking little boys come in and try to do the fucking dance routine, and the crowd was fucking, get this shit out of here. We want the fucking meat. So, and then get that flabby fuck Jericho out of my fucking face too. Why don't you go fucking be a piece of shit somewhere else? So to me, like that part of the match was awesome. The rest of it was mostly a waste of time, but it got us to where it needed to, which was Wardlow as the number 1 contender.
Yep, absolutely. We knew that Wardlow was the safest bet, so that's exactly all we needed. Moving on to the next part, Roderick Strong.
Yeah,
wins the international title. I
zoned out for most of this match. I'm not gonna lie, but it's what we expected. Luckily, it was the second shortest match in the card, so they didn't torture us so much. But unfortunately, it was still longer than the women's match, which we'll get to that. But yeah, this is what we expected. This is what they're doing with Roddy. Hopefully, Wardlow completes the fucking thing, so they have all the goals, so it makes this shitty faction worth it if we have to deal with Roddy Strong as a champion.
Mid. Every time I see the Kingdom, I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, they almost had another member because your boy Kyle O'Reilly returned.
Oh god,
he refused the T-shirt because he's definitely going to be interesting on his own. No sarcasm there at all.
Listen, in NXT, he peaked real hard, and I just was like, this guy's charismatic in an awkward, odd way that I tend to love. But then he got swallowed by the AEW fucking charisma vacuum. Like, it's just like, whatever chances of character development we saw in NXT for anybody in the Undisputed Era was like, Bobby Fish, guess what? You're not even worth it. Kyle O'Reilly was just like, dude, you were so fucking funny, and now it's just like nothing. And then Adam Cole fucking went from top of the mountain back to fucking the wheelchair. And then of course we've talked about Roddy. We talked about Roddy all the time. We knew that this was going to happen. I still don't like it because Orange Cassidy he has made that title. Doesn't matter how many people hold it after him. That title will be Orange Cassidy's title.
I think he's bigger than it though.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
It's time for him to move on.
He's elevated it, and he's elevated himself to a point where, and this is the scary part, right? He's gotten to a point where I think Orange Cassidy has been okay, I don't need a title. He's must see. But then you pair him with the fucking likes of the fucking Best Friends and Rocky Romero and these fucking random New Japan dudes on a fucking random rampage.
You always find a way to shit on the Best Friends.
And I'm just like sitting to myself, listen, I love a good Nepo baby. I do. But the fucking Best Friends are the biggest Nepo babies I've ever seen in my goddamn life. They don't deserve to be anywhere in my fucking program. And neither they just don't. They don't. They waste my time with the Best Friends and all that bull. All of those people like that are it's just part of that. It doesn't make any sense. Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander, perfect. Everybody else, get the fuck out of here.
You're just a hater. It's okay, Nestlemania. We can move on because I don't want to talk about Rice anymore. To a fucking super hot fire tag team match. The Blackpool Combat Club defeats Dax and Cash Air FTR. This side, I mean, this was an awesome match. You know I love tag team wrestling. You knew FTR and the BCC. These guys were going to beat the fuck out of each other. They sure did, Nestle. There was blood. You know, it's a John Moxley match. There was blood everywhere, and it ended with Moxley choking out a bloody Dax. He did not tap. He was taken out, but as I correctly predicted, the BCC won. This was an awesome match. This is what I want to see. This is what AEW sells that they have the best tag team wrestling in the world. Well, for once they actually showed it. Now we just got to get that back in the title picture.
Listen, I popped super hard. I had a raging boner for the fucking Road Warriors fucking spikes. Yeah, anytime that shit happened, I got to tell you, little Nestle, when he was a little wrestling fan, he begged his parents for those fucking foam LOD shoulder pads of the WWE merchandise magazine, and they fucking bought them and they came, and I was like, I had thought I had fucking won. Yep, I was like, so when I saw those things, I was just like,
oh, do you still have them?
Dude, I wish.
Oh my God, make you wear them.
Dude, make me. I would wear them if you find them and somebody, I don't even care if they're a child small, I will wear them on the podcast.
Well, they fit you.
Well, yeah.
You said little Adam, not much has changed.
That's true. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. I mean, the doc makes fun of my shoulder pads anyway, so I mean, I might as well have real shoulder pads.
Spike them up.
Might as well spike them. Spike your hair, don't care. But no, but seriously, I just thought that was great. And the other thing is, the only thing I saw was like, the shoulder pads fit Moxley completely, right? And then I see Cesaro or, whatever you want to fucking call him, Castagnoli. And I'm just like, nope, not for me. Like, it just doesn't fit him because he's so clean cut and like whatever.
Yeah.
It just like, it's like a hodge. It works, but it doesn't work in a certain way. But I thought the match was fantastic, of course. But again, I got a little nervous when I saw FTR lose, and I was just like, oh, fuck, here comes the downfall. Here comes the downfall. So.
They're fine. Okay. This is, I mean, the BCC, I think they needed this win more than the FTR did. So I was okay with it. But moving on, Nestlemania, we get to one of these super hot fire moments of the night. And that is Mariah May coming out dressed like OG's Tony Storm. I think she had us all fooled for about 10 seconds before they zoomed in. You saw the face, you were like, oh, but I mean, that was back when I first discovered Tony Storm. That was the OG, the black and red gear. I absolutely loved that shit. I love that gimmick. I thought she was so fucking cool. So I really popped hard for that. Mariah pulled it off. She even was still wearing it at the press conference. Then we get to the match, and Tony, there was a lot of schmoz at the end of this match, but I wanted more out of this match because I thought Deanna was cooking. I thought she looked great. I thought these two's chemistry was off the charts, but then it just kind of ended, and I was like, so I've seen you had that fucking All-Star Scramble go for like 30 years, and it was fucking, I got bored. But you have this match, the only women's match on the main card, and it's the shortest match. It's just AEW continues to do this. It sucks. I know they put a match in the pre-show too, but it's just like that. Like, you have an opportunity now where you sign Deonna Purrazzo to raise the level of your wrestling in the women's division. So fucking highlight it better. But it was still a good match. I just wish it had. I thought there was a little more for them to do. I felt a little cucked at the end of this match, Nestlemania. I feel like they didn't really finish it off the way we all wanted it to.
I laughed so hard at the press conference. Someone had a great picture. It was all three of them standing in a row, and it went Tony. Question mark. I was just like, that was great. And then just reading her Tony Storm is so good with this character. Like, just the press conferences are must see now, because he was like, congratulations to Sting, you can use my summer home. And I was just like, this woman. And then at the end, of course, she says, and I can't wait for big business. And they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to fuck up Wendy Richter. And I was like, it's just so fucking funny. I just want her to actually face Wendy Richter. It's not going to happen, but it's just,
that's not happening.
It's fucking awesome. But the other thing I will say this much. I watched the match and I thought this was good, and it ended kind of on a flat note for me after all the gaga. And then I felt like I was sitting there, and as you say this, JC, it makes me nervous because I feel like we were so amped up for Julia Hart to get that TBS championship, right? And I feel like they haven't done anything in it. Let me say this. They've done things with her, but they haven't done something in terms of like making it a headline. Like I
can tell you why. Because every time she comes out, she's one of the biggest draws on the show now. Her pops are fucking massive. So they know they're like, I think they're just at a point with her right now. They're like, because they stuck Sky Blue with her too. So it's just like the crowd loves it. But it's just like, I think they're going to be lazy with it because they're booking all this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Julia's over. We don't have to try right now, which sucks. And I agree with you because I would like to see her highlighted more because I think she has the best entrance in the fucking company. And as an entrance guy, I love to see that. But I think what they're doing is interesting with her and Sky. But I think it's just the point, like, she's so fucking over with the crowds right now. They're like, yeah, we don't have to try. We can put her in random tag matches. We can have her randomly come out and fucking like, just be there. And, we just don't have to do it because we don't have to put much thought into it because it's working, but that's how this company approaches things sometimes.
So my nervousness is that AEW has fumbled the women's division for a very long time. And then you think, okay, like let's just say this really quickly, right? Big business, most likely a foregone conclusion that somebody's coming, right? And she's that
really? She's
the head of the food fucking chain, right? Like she's the fucking boss. She's the bee's knees, right?
Well, the boss does run big business. So.
Right. So like my thought is like there's gonna be some promises there in TV time, if not for titles soon. And it's like, okay, Toni Storm needs to be on TV. And then you drop the fucking Julia Hart thing and the Sky Blue thing. But then you're going to
Sky, they're on Collision anyway.
Hold on. Then you get the Britt Bakers returning. Then you get our girl Jamie Hayter into the mix. And you just look at it, you're like, okay, this is starting to fill out. And all these people who have been there, it just feels like that TBS title needs to go to like a Britt Baker or a fucking Deonna Purrazzo. I didn't even mention her name. You need to have those people on television. It just feels like we're going to be inundated with so many things.
Soon, she's bigger than all those people right now. Like, so that's
I hope you're right. I'm just saying.
She just is. Like, her growth as a character has really catapulted her into one of the top spots. And yeah, Britt should come back. She's been gone for way too long. She's one of the better characters they have. And having Deonna in here is nice. Like, I look at it as more of a positive. Is now you have depth in this women's division where if you watch a lot of AEW every week, I know we do it a lot on Fast Forward, but it's the same fucking matches every single week because I only trust a few women. It's fucking Statlander and Willow in a tag match against fucking Julia and Sky Blue. That's been the match for like 3 months on the Collisions and the Rampages. And then Dynamite's just a Toni Storm segment. So it's like, I look at it as like, we're finally going to have some more variety in the women's division. And this should hopefully help everyone. It's just the concern always with Tony is sometimes he puts some toys back in the toy box and forgets they're there. So we don't want to see that happen to Deonna. It could, but I hope it's an opportunity for them to capitalize on there being more interest in this division that has got nothing but shit because it's lack of depth and opportunity. I think bringing in a bigger star like that and then bringing back like a Britt Baker, it should make all this better. And I know Joe's talking about Serena Deeb in the chat. She's in that same category as Deonna Purrazzo where she just has matches that make people look good. So they have the horses. It's just, are they going to use it? We'll find out. But I think there's going to be a better opportunity for everyone to eat at the table.
I hope you're right.
It's not Roman Reigns' table. It's a table where everyone's allowed to eat.
It's a booth. Not really a table. It's a booth.
Okay, Rock.
I'm just saying. Sometimes you can eat at the bar. It doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on to something that 22
match of the year.
22 minutes on the Dizot. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, we know Ospreay. Like, we just know. We like the minute that dude walks out, you're just like,
I love him.
I
fucking love him.
But the thing that by the way, the Bruv t-shirt, you're buying that fucking thing. I know you are.
I should.
You should, Bruv. But look, I will say this much. We joke about Takeshita a lot on this program about his name, that he's been fucking overhyped and Omega sucks his butt and like the whole thing, like how great this guy is, yada yada. And I have seen flashes of Takeshita and thinking like this guy's great. But boy, oh boy, was this the right fucking ingredient for the pudding, man? Like I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, so so we kind of universally saw on your Twitters, on your Facebooks, on any, social media. This was Matt. Well, whatever. I'm still looking on stuff, but I mean, anywhere, Twitter, whatever you like, your Instagram, everybody said this was match of the year quality, right? So I guess my question to you is, and I'm not going to, we can go back and forth. I mean, that fucking The one thing that bothered me was the fucking suplex in the corner. That to me was
I mean,
like
he was showing off his fucking ass bruise on the fucking
to me,
press
that's
He's like, bro,
unnecessary.
I won't pull it down all the way to show you my crack, but look at this. That was the most painful thing I ever had in my life, bro. God, I could listen to him fucking talk all day. I don't know if you watched his presser.
I did.
But he is a fucking cuckoo nest. And I'm like,
absolutely.
I love him even more. He just can't, like, he's just so excited. The guy just fucking loves doing it. And that's the passion of why I gravitate to people like that. It's why I love Cody. Because when you listen to these people fucking talk, it's like, they fucking love this. So I'm investing a lot of my personal time and enjoyment into this. I love that they love it. And that's why I fucking love Will Ospreay. Also, yeah, he's really fucking good.
So the thing that I have, and again, you can open this up to the chat because we know we got Birdsky, we got the fucking asshole backcracker, but Joe Stopper's in here too, and some other peeps. But maybe this is more of a JC and Nestlemania discussion. But please, I do want to hear everybody's opinion on this. It's kind of hard to quantify, I guess. But when you're sitting there watching a match, after you're done, what kind of things are you looking for to say that's a match of the year quality? Like, you can say it's Ospreay and Ospreay will bring that. But like, to me, I'm like actually thinking in my head, like, are you expecting like a reversal you've never seen, a counter you've never seen, something you've never seen?
That to me.
But so explain to me when JC's looking for a match of the year. And this is maybe some insight to how you pick things for the knocker the knockers with TJ. But I am curious because I have my own thoughts.
Rule number one in wrestling. Did I feel something? I felt a lot of things during that match. I felt fucking on the edge of my seat. I felt angst. I felt an erection. I felt all those fucking things. Like that's number one. And it's something that's obviously very hard to quantify. And that's why it's a very subjective matter. But to me, it's just like when I watch something, it's like, yeah, you have the moments like the oh shits and the whatever, the cool moves, like that stuff's great. But it's like, did I fucking feel something? And this even was a match that had no fucking storyline. It was like, oh yeah, I'm Don Callis. These are two of my guys. They're going to fight. So it's like, there's no story backing this up. And I still liked it that much. That's usually hard to get me. That's how you know it has to be good. But it's just something like there's these certain guys and gals that come around every once in a while, not very often. And every time you watch them, like you just can't look away because they're undeniably good. And Will Ospreay is undeniably good. And every time I see him, there is something different about it. And in this particular match, he had a really fucking good dance partner with him in Takeshita. Because yes, I like to make fun of him too. But in the ring, the guy can fucking go. He's a fucking young stud. He's a fucking stallion. Ospreay sounded like he wanted to fuck him in the presser too. But it seems to be a common thing with a lot of these dudes. They really want to fuck this guy. But I just, this match, to me, it's like, what did I feel? The do I want more is always something too, where it's like, it just leaves you. Or if you feel, it's the satisfaction. Like all these things like lead to like the level of satisfaction. And at the end of the match, I was so fucking satisfied in Nestlemania. And I don't like to rewatch a lot of things because my mind is usually of the approach is, okay, I've seen that and learned that. What else can I see and learn? So for me to rewatch something, I either feel like I can get more out of it or I really had to fucking like it. This is something I would love to rewatch. And that's rare, especially in wrestling, because I don't get like that very often. So I know that's kind of a jumble all over the place, but it's a very subjective matter. But those are the big things to me. It's like, what did I feel? Did I want more? And do I want to rewatch it? I would say would be three things I guess you could quantify with.
Okay. Our boy, the Joe Stopper says in-ring chemistry, firing up the crowd, and then space out the spots, which I tend to agree with him on that aspect of it. I think chemistry you talked about is a big deal. Our boy Birdsky said they both killed it, locked in from the start to the finish. Got to love that banger, bruv. And then I think that you don't lose interest along the way. The crowd bought in as well. They dove right into the bag of tricks. And then it says here, you could also tell that they were killing it from the crowd response. And the second half was just keeping it rolling all the way. So I tend to agree with all those sentiments. But for me, I look at it like this. I like to see something I've never seen before. I think that's important to me because we've seen a lot. Like, you know, I've watched wrestling for over 30 years, right? So for me, you know, like, I remember people would be watching wrestling with me and I'd call something and they'd be like, well, that fucking sucks. How did you know that? It's just like, sometimes you can see something before it develops. So when I was watching this matchup, I was like, well, I can't fucking call most of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I love not being able to call it, but more importantly for me, I think to me, this is the biggest quantification for me. And it's not really a quantity thing, but it's a feeling for me is, can I get lost in it? Right? We know wrestling is predetermined. I hate using the F word, but it's predetermined. But if you can make me go, ho, ho, or like, God damn, it goes along with what you were saying with feeling, right? But I think if I can get lost in that moment the best parts of wrestling are when we are immersed and we're into it, right? And this was a great example of, like you said, didn't even have a story, yet was still very fucking good.
So compelling.
It's hard it's hard in a day and age to keep our attention. I mean, what was it, 22 minutes I just said? That's hard to do for me. Like we make the Gargano joke about, these 45-minute fucking love fests, but 22 minutes keeping the crowd hot over and over and over and over again was great. And I think that's important, is immersing the experience, and the crowd makes it better, right? If the crowd's into it, at home we feel into it. So I think it's a whole host of things. What you said, plus I think the immersion aspect, and can the crowd keep you interested in it? Because I think the crowd really fed into it.
Absolutely. You need a good crowd. And that's why we see at a lot of the bigger shows, you notice a lot of the matches of the years are at the bigger shows because the bigger crowds. Like TV matches, it's hard to quantify like that because the atmosphere is what makes wrestling so special. Like that's why I like wrestling. That's why I like On Location UFC. There's something about two fucking people fighting in a fucking ring or an octagon with people going fucking bananas that is just really fucking cool. And you can't really quantify that. So that definitely helps. But yeah, as of March 6th, 2024, this is my match of the year, and it's not even fucking close. But we have fucking a long ways to go, baby, and many more good matches. So we shall see what else we have. But we move on to the triple threat for the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe retained. Predictably, Hangman appeared like he was more interested in screwing Swerve than winning the title, as we expected, which made sense for the story. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was in and out caring about this match because I just fucking had fucking 30 cumgasms watching the match before, and I was getting ready for fucking Sting. So yeah, this was just kind of there for me.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I'm glad they're saving the Swerve moment.
Yes,
I was so scared. Fucking Tony Khan, like he does so many times, going to do it too soon.
Load.
This wasn't the spot, so I like that how they did this.
And the next, I mean, I think Swerve it all in or all out is where it's headed. I think that's the most important part, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think he might have to wait longer, and I think he might have to because I don't know.
We'll see. Anyway, moving on to the main event. Sting and Darby retain their tag team titles in a tornado tag against the Young Bucks with all this fucking chicanery and whatever you want to talk about. This made me so happy on so many levels that you and I were awash. So I'm still up 3 in the predictions, but that's beside the point. Clearly watching, I got goosebumps watching his sons come out with him because it just,
dude, that presentation was so good.
And I just, as a dad, I'm like, if I ever wrestle again, I really want my kids to come out with me. So when I saw that, I was just like, what a fucking moment for his family, and then that the fact that they were dressed up in like the best versions of Sting, that was pretty cool. Then they got the fucking Stinger splash. Like, think about that. Like, your dad is your hero, just being your dad most of the time, right? Like, you grow up and like most people that, when they have a decent father, like their dad's their hero. But then like your dad's a superhero like Sting, that's pretty fucking cool. Then you get to be in his last match. That's even fucking cooler, right? And the fucking Young Bucks just took it like fucking champs. I will say this much. We can talk about everything else in this match, but there's the big kaboom we have to talk about, right? So and again, I bow to you. I bow to everybody listening and watching, especially people in the chat. I do want to hear what you have to say about this. There is a person that is trying to sue AEW from the glass spot because they got injured. And Tony Khan is not folding on this and saying that he is not responsible. It says it on the ticket. It says there's a warning when you walk in the room, blah, 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 blah. I personally believe that as the owner of the company, you do have some type of responsibility to keep it within the parameters of not hurting your fans. I do feel this way because, John Moxley fucked up my brother. That's one reason to look at it. But
that one's a little different because that was a talent going at it. This was... Look at. I'll say this, Nestlemania. When you go to SeaWorld, you expect to not get wet. If you sit, I'm just saying, like, It literally, like, if you're sitting in the first whatever many rows of a wrestling show, like, there's a chance, like, a wrestler's gonna go by, might tear up your sign. You might get fucking spit on you from someone getting slapped, like, or if someone fucking does the dumbest spot of all time. Thank you for your service, Darby. That was really fucking cool, but it was really fucking dumb. And you get hit by some fucking sugar glass, yeah, it sucks. It's dangerous, but that's like saying you want to go to SeaWorld and not get wet. Well, wear a fucking poncho then, because guess what? It's it's part of it. And I look at Tony should probably maybe give him some tickets, give him something nice, offer to pay for any medical bills they might need, blah, blah, blah. I'm all for that because whatever, like you don't obviously want to see anyone get hurt. You want to do your best to keep everyone there safe and whatever. But come on, let's be real. He's not wrong. It fucking says it. Like you are at risk. You are at risk sitting here. But so I'm on the fence with it. But like I tend to lean be like, if you go to fucking SeaWorld, expect to get wet. Sorry.
So if you go to AEW, expect Moxley's blood.
Expect to get fucking a face full of fake blood from Moxley's fucking temple.
Right, right. Joe says, but the poncho. From SeaWorld.
Hey, you wear a poncho, you might not get any blood on you.
That's true. That's true. What's this? This is my blood poncho. Thanks. Well, overall, like you said, it was a good pay-per-view, great pay-per-view, best pay-per-view of the year for AEW. I thought this was the best
pay-per-view they've had in a long time. I thought top to bottom was very solid. My complaints were the Meat Madness should have been just those 4 guys. The women's match was too short. I don't give a fuck about Roddy, but overall, I thought they did so much justice by Sting. I thought it was cool that he main evented the show. I thought everything they did with it was cool. I didn't give a fuck that he no-sold every fucking move because I think you sell moves so you can have moments like this where you can have a fucking icon, the legend of this industry, go out looking like the fucking baddest motherfucker in the world. Like, we can make fun of Tony Khan's booking all we want, but his fucking perfection booking of Sting, since the moment he showed up at AEW through the end, it fucking deserves a medal because I don't know if we'll ever see anyone booking old like that again. Because there were moments you're looking like, yeah, Sting looks a little old. But for the most part, it didn't take away from it. And every fucking Sting moment felt special and felt like it meant something. That's pretty fucking cool because that does not happen ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that was AEW Revolution in a nutshell. We should get back to the regular part of the show here. Let's get always happy. Let's get always in the shine, JC.
Always in the shine, Nestlemania, much like, a lot of people. But I want to start with, I forgot, but now I remembered. I want to start with some tag team wrestling, playa. And I want to start with tag team wrestling on Monday Night Raw. Because Nestlemania, we had a heel versus heel match. But as the match was going on, there was clearly one team that was more beloved by the crowd than the others. I'm talking about Judgment Day. I'm talking about Imperium. If you can find a bad Imperium match, don't even bother looking because you're not gonna. Don't waste your time. But this match was fun and just seeing how it started with mostly the crowd just loving Finn, which is someone who also loves Finn. I thought it was cool. But they started to go nuts for Priest. And I'm watching this and I'm like, man, it says a lot about fucking Imperium that these motherfuckers who are supposed to be like some of the biggest heels, like the crowd chose as like, this is actually who we want to root for. These fucking assholes, because that's how fucking good Ludwig Kaiser and Gio Vinci and Gunther have been. But this match was awesome too. Obviously the right team retained, but I fucking loved everything about this. This was my favorite part of Raw. This was fucking great. I love the tag team wrestling that we saw this week. And this is great.
Something that I took away from this entire thing was, of course, he said, it's time to fly, Prince, which I thought was a nice little nugget there. But also the other thing, too, is they were baby faces by design, if you watch the entire match. But the other thing that I thought was really great on commentary was they went out of their fucking way to talk about Priest and not cashing in and kind of being a dummy and like all this other stuff. And like, basically, I don't know if they told them that they were going to do that on commentary, but when he fucking wrestled, when he was in his match there, he like lit it up. He was like ferociously just intense, like more than he normally is, and just fucking came out and fucking started swinging. And I was like, what a great like merriment of the two, where it was like commentary was kind of being like, he's a beast, but is he gonna fucking finally figure it out? And then the in-ring compliments it in a way where you're just like, holy fuck, like yeah, abso-fucking-lutely he is, like, because if they said that and he put up kind of an amp performance and kind of his fucking dilly-dally tap dance routine, I would have been like, yeah, he's not my fucking cash in guy. But after Monday night, I'm just like, fucking cash in, man. I'm ready to fucking go. Like, you know what I mean? And it was probably just the love fest of it all. But like, if he cashed in tomorrow, I'd be happy with it. You know what I mean? So
he's gonna cash in on a Thursday. Who's he cashing in on?
You know what I fucking mean? Jesus fucking Christ.
What wrestling show is on Thursday?
I don't know. I'm just making a fucking comment, you fucking asshole.
And I'm calling out your comment.
And I'm calling out you.
You know what else was good in WrestleMania? Speaking of Judgment Day and Imperium, Gunther and Dom, super Fire! Here's another thing. Go find me a bad Gunther match. Hell, go find me a bad Dom match the last 2 years. You can't. This shit was great. I loved it. It was fun. It was fun. It was nice to see Gunther just be able to kind of beat up on someone a little bit because he's had a lot of even Steven matchups, but this one it felt like Gunther just go out there and flex your muscles. Dom, do what you do best. Be the fucking best jobber we have in this company.
I was praying for him when he was getting just the shit chopped out of him. But again, nothing you can say except holy shit, right? Like you watch that matchup and it's funny, Dom's willing to take a beating, right? So I think that's the important aspect of this is like if you're willing to get in there with Gunther and then take a fucking beating, like aces to you, sir. Aces to you. Moving on. I would like to say that I thought there was some cool stuff going on here, but I laughed hysterically at the fucking antlers. That's about it for there, but I just thought the antler part was fucking hysterical.
Michael Cole, another person who finished his story before Cody Rhodes.
Yes, exactly. Put it on the fucking board. It is what it is. I will say something else that I thought was kind of interesting to me. Sorry, I just want to make sure I said the right thing here. I kind of really enjoyed on SmackDown something that I wasn't really sure of it being really decent, but I like Randy Orton and Waller and Theory with that backstage segment, and then it led to the fucking
best part of SmackDown, in my
opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
And people can say the wherewithal of Randy Orton or Theory and that chicanery, their fucking botch or whatever that didn't end up becoming a botch of the superplex there. But the other thing too was like you go back and you watch how he fucking rolled through and took the RKO and held the back. You look at all these little details of Austin Theory and then fucking taking a stunner and fucking Dolph Ziggler, Ambrose style, just and I kept thinking to myself, everybody thinks, Theory's dead or Theory's just kind of this thing. I'm like, the dude's just going to keep fucking doing that for a while.
He's right where he needs to be.
He's perfectly fine. Does he have a great character? No. I think he should go back. For me, if I was going to rebook Austin Theory, I would go back to Austin Theory being the fucking dumb in the way because I felt like that was must-see television. I thought he's a really good dumb, and I think that's kind of like what we're doing here. But if they make him a baby,
treat him like a fucking Ken doll.
Like
he's just a fucking dumb pretty boy who can do really cool things, but he's just fucking stupid. And like he kind of is still that a little bit, but I mean, I'm glad you brought this up because this to me was the best part of SmackDown because that backstage segment continues to show us the fucking range of Randy Orton right now and how much he is just fucking happy to be there. Like I thought this was executed so well. You knew Waller would knock it out of the park with his reactions, being like, "Oh no, not there. You think I got you a main event?" Like they're continuing to tease that, so that's a win. And then like you fucking said it, the fucking finish to that match. Oh baby, can Theory take an RKO? Waller too, and then the fucking stunner. This was great, and obviously we got KO on commentary, which is always in the shine. So this was great. This is what I love to see on SmackDown. More of this stuff, less of some of the other stuff we'll probably talk about later.
Sure. The other thing I would say, the RKO and the stunner as a tag team was a tag team I didn't know I wanted, and we could talk about all the time in the world that RK Bro was a special team. But I feel like KO and Randy Orton, if Randy Orton just goes the last leg of his career here in mostly tag matches and then every once in a while has a spot, and I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it because I feel like to protect Randy Orton at all costs, you probably should do stuff like this. So I don't know, just something to think about. Anything else you want to talk about that was positive?
Yeah, Stratton's really fucking over, dude. She looked great. She beat Naomi. That's a big win for her. But like the crowd fucking loves them some Tiffy time. I don't blame them. I love Tiffy time too. But it's cool to see someone from NXT getting called up and immediately being getting one of the biggest reactions on the show. We saw it start at Chamber, but it's translated here over in the States. So that was nice to see. And then I'm curious your take on some of the rest of the stuff that happened on these shows this week, because I'm kind of on the fence with some of this stuff.
I'm very much on the fence on a lot of things here, and I want to be positive, but I feel like it would just be not on brand if I went that way. So I'm going to end it there. Would you like to get heaty? Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Now, this is like a choose your own adventure because there's a lot of shit we can talk about here. I mean, we are talking about the topic that is the, right there, episode.
I was going to say, you literally just said shit. It says diarrhea on my screen.
Diarrhea, Dwyane. So
some might call what happened on Friday diarrhea.
Yeah, so we can talk about Friday, we can talk about Monday. I think we kind of lump most of this in together. So I'll start with the diet. We'll start on Friday, I guess. It'd probably be easier
let's go
to
in order.
chronically.
It'd be easier to fucking.
So YouTube TV was short now for me, or I guess Fox was cutting out the
Fox.
fucking, the whole thing, which kind of upset the whole viewing experience for me, which was whatever.
Agreed.
And then, excuse me, I clocked it 38 minutes. 38 minutes. That segment was 38 minutes. That to me was like, and you felt it throughout the rest of the night. Like the women's didn't get an entrance. Like you could just, everything after it was just boom, 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 boom. It just felt so quick. And Triple H did a great job of probably milking it and like kind of thinking about it ahead of time. We know Rock's on first. How are we going to have to think about it after the fact? Because we know he's just going to go long. It's just, I feel like, somebody can sit here and go, but it's The Rock, which I understand. And I get that. But to me, I am I had somebody teach me this in college, and I still believe this to this day. If you have to say metropolis when you should say city, you're the fucking problem. Like, if you can't explain what you're trying to feel to a 5-year-old and you're just taking forever to get to your fucking point, it's bad. And as I was watching this thing entirely go on, this is just let me finish this one point. He lost himself constantly in that moment where he was trying to retrack his brain. He said the same thing over and over again to jog his memory. And it just felt like, I get it. You want to give me 20 minutes? Fine. But 38 minutes with entrances and all that shit, it took so long to get to a point of like, here's our counter offer. Here's our fucking counter offer. And of course, there's little nuggets there with the fucking, he stopped him. You have to acknowledge me. You can get into this whole shit.
We can get to that in a minute because I think that's different. But what bothered me the most about this 38-minute segment is Nestlemania. The Rock put out an 18-minute video, which he then deleted, and re-uploaded a fucking 22-minute video on social media leading up to this segment. 22 plus 38. What does that equal, Adam?
50 something? I don't know.
It's an hour.
It's an hour. Okay. I don't know.
It's an hour. 32 plus 38 plus
I'm
22.
tired.
Yes. 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 8 plus 2 is 10. So that's how I do it. That's how I do the math. But yeah, that's an hour, Nestlemania. That's an hour of The Rock on your fucking Friday. And like, I will say this. I did not watch that 22-minute video because if you post a video on social media, unless if it's like a really fucking cool moment, I'm not fucking watching it if it's more than a couple minutes. It's fucking social media, man. Social media that is where you eat your fast food. You eat your fast food on this. On SmackDown, yes, that's where I want more of a meal. So if you would have had 38 minutes of content without fucking a 22-minute promo that I didn't watch, I'd be a little more forgiving. But this motherfucker talked for an hour. An hour. He expected me to look at him for an hour and listen to his fucking diarrhea come out of his fucking mouth. Seth got that right. It's really lame, but he got it right. The ego on this fucking guy. Good Lord. And then we get to the acknowledgement ceremony, which whatever. If they could have found a way to do it quicker and got to this acknowledgement ceremony, I think it would have been fine. But good God, man. You don't have any respect for our time, do you? Get your shit together. He's making fucking Edge look like a fucking two-pump chump. His fucking backstage fucking 20-minute promos suddenly feel like a walk in the park. Edge might have been premature. He should have gone longer, comparing it to fucking Rocky here. Rocky, no wonder. He probably took some Viagra. He can't get that shit to go down, so he just keeps going, even though no one's having fun. No one's having fun, Rock, so just stop.
So before we get to everything, I just want to say for the Hope today, later on in the program, we're going to talk more about the tag team matches as we discuss this. So we'll move on to Monday. Move on to Monday, and fucking Cody, talks, don't ever bring up my dog, which I thought was funny.
Pharaoh's over, man. Pharaoh's in the fucking video game, apparently.
Yeah, whatever. You just whatever. And then Seth says, as we said, Diarrhea Dwyane. Now, we know that Seth Rollins is not good at fucking quibs and fucking back. He's never been good at it. His wife's never been good at it. There are a lot of people that are just not good at fucking coming up with good, insults, right? Like, and I get that because they're probably kind-hearted people and they just thought it would be like, some people go for the jugular. The Rock will go for the jugular.
Some people just aren't funny like you. It's okay.
Say
it. You want to say it.
No, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So
you want to say it. I know you want to say it.
No, it's fine.
Say it.
It's fine.
I'm funny, damn it.
Nope, not going to say it. Nope.
Yeah,
I was
said
told
it
a
for
long
you.
time ago, if I say it, I'm not it. So I'm gonna let
true.
you.
Well, that's what I was gonna throw back in your face. If you have to say it, then guess what? You're not.
I'm evolving. I am not gonna tell anybody how great I am anymore. Anyway, so basically they agree to be a tag team, and they're trying to plant seeds on people who are turning and whatever. But we gotta wait till Friday to have the fucking consummation in a fucking 45-minute thing where they're gonna fucking do whatever. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I get it. These 4 people are very important to the livelihood of WrestleMania. I get that. And
I'm very excited for all of this.
Sure.
But
you
I think the
don't
lead up would be better.
you don't here's the thing. That once they fucking handshake on Friday or whatever they're gonna do, right? Slap, whatever, brawl, whatever. For the love of God, can we open up some TV time for the rest of WrestleMania to fucking make sense? That's all I'm saying. Like, I get it. It deserves fucking treatment. I get that. It does deserve it. But what the fuck are we doing when we're doing 38 minutes here and fucking, I didn't even time the Cody promo, but it was at least probably 15, 20 minutes, right?
I mean, the crowd just hijacks fucking him.
Right.
You know, it just that's when you send out like your top baby faces, you write in a little extra because the crowd's gonna hijack you. But
yeah,
there was a lot of this week, and there was a lot of Seth. But yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. What else didn't you like? I'm curious.
What else did I not like this week? Well, I got news for you. I don't know. I didn't really hate anything. I kind of okay. So here's my biggest thing, and our boy Guthrie tweeted this out, and I fully agree. On Tuesday nights, I watch a really fucking cool tag team called the Wolf Dogs, and Braun and Corbin have this great relationship in our dominant tag team. But WWE is doing the Vince thing, where on Fridays we pretend like that isn't happening. And Braun Breaker is this newly signed singles superstar who's squashing a dude who looks like a fucking Adonis in 5 seconds. It just, like, there's a disconnect there that insults the wrestling fans' intelligence. It's like, they do this, they've done this before when they call up NXT talent. They'll still be working a program in NXT, and they'll completely ignore it and just do, like, whatever they want on SmackDown. It's like, I think it would be better for Braun if it fucking made sense. It's like, it's just there's just such a disconnect with what I'm watching Tuesday to Friday, and it's hard to process. And it's like, okay, are we gonna do this for fucking 5 months where Braun's just gonna be fucking spearing like the NXT talent who doesn't get on TV? But it just like I don't know. This is the one thing that kind of bugged me this week. It's more of a thematic thing than an actual like television thing. But they need to connect the dots better here because we all have the internet. We're all not stupid. So, you know, maybe don't like try to pull wool over our eyes because our eyes still work.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. I mean, he's on the Goldberg track at this point. So I feel like they're just going to have him rack up fucking wins and beat Goldberg at 178 or whatever it was. So they're going to, you laugh. You laugh, but who knows, man? Who knows?
They're not going to do
that. You know, when he walked out, I looked at the time and I went, he's going to fucking do this in one move. Like
they're giving him remember when the people used to count down the Baron Corbin matches? It feels like Braun's getting that treatment.
I just feel like I was sitting because The Rock fucking probably, took too much time. And then I was just like, he's going to fucking hit him. And sure enough, he did. I'm like, poor Zion Quinn.
But last week you have Dante Chen, who's like fucking half the size of Zion Quinn. It was this big fucking bloodline looking motherfucker. Yeah. And fucking he's the one who gets fucking see ya in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's tough. It's absolutely, but that's a great point by Guthrie, though. It is insulting our intelligence.
Yep.
Moving on to things that are kind of whatever. Again, we've talked about most of this stuff, but I kind of got mad at the Dakota betrayal. I get what we were doing. I was curious
what you thought here. Yeah.
Because I get it, but it felt like, again, and I think it's because it was in the spot that it was in, on where it transpired. It was like the match didn't matter. It was a plot point for a story package, for the video package for WrestleMania, essentially. And I get it because, the 3 other women aren't necessarily English isn't their first language. They probably need a mouthpiece. I get that. But I just felt like they could have done something better. It felt like it got lost in translation based on everything else that was going on. And then they just randomly show up. Maybe you can say randomly, but like they showed up on Raw and it was like, we're not going to do anything. And I don't know, whatever. And then they're on, NXT for that reason. And it feels like, again, you want to talk about connecting the dots here. Yeah. I was sitting here thinking, we just talked about this last week. We have 2 amazing women's matches for WrestleMania. Please don't fuck it up. And to me, Bayley won the Royal Rumble, and it still feels like they're fucking it up, right?
Well, to me, like that was my big issue with this. Is I felt like it was this part of the storyline was very rushed. I felt like there was more to do here, especially when I'm looking at the calendar and I'm saying, okay, we still got like almost pretty much 2 months at this point, maybe exactly 2 months at this point. And it's just like I felt like we rushed this plot point because now what do we get at? We're at Bayley against 4 other women. Okay.
Well, actually, we only have a month left.
Oh yeah, it's March now. It's not February. Yeah, my bad. But still, I'm looking at it. It felt like a rush plot point because I'm like, okay, well now what are we gonna do? And I'm like, they're gonna do what they do every year WrestleMania. This is gonna continue to lose steam until we get there, and hopefully they have a banner match, which I have no doubt they will. But I don't know. That's up to me because I think you're right. It definitely felt lost in the shuffle with this week kind of happening while it did. But yeah, it felt like this plot point was rushed. I felt like there was a little more meat on this bone they could have worked with because I think Dakota coming off injury. Her involvement and everything is very interesting. It's something fresh. It's a unique little wrinkle. And they kind of just like blew the load and like moved on. So that was my biggest thing. That's why this is one of the things I was kind of teetering on because I think the story makes sense. The way they executed it made sense. I just was like, what bothers me is that I just felt like they could have maybe done that execution in a week or two and maybe given me a little more to nibble on the next couple weeks. I don't know. That's just how.
And then the weird thing for me was that Jade talked to them, and I was just like,
yeah, I don't know
what's Bayley
going on with that.
like. Is it gonna be like? Here's my thing, right? Is like Bianca and Jade and some other person gonna be Bayley's, fucking backup to make sure, you know what I mean? Like it seems very odd. I don't know. It's a bummer that Mercedes isn't around because I feel like that would have been like the nice little.
Well, what's going to happen with Jade is interesting because it feels like Bianca's wrestling her or Stratton. I don't know which one, and then I don't know what you do with the other one, but maybe the plan is for something with Jade with some form of damage control. I don't know, but I don't really want to see them fighting for tag titles or anything. So it's like, is it going to be Jade versus Dakota? Like, what are we doing here? I don't know. I'm intrigued because it's interesting, but I'm also just kind of worried because I'm like, man, if I'm not getting Bianca Jade, you better have something damn good for the two of them on their own because I don't know.
Talking about sticking with the tag team titles for the women, then of course our friends Shayna and Zoe win whatever against the Party Girls. And then they're having a match next week, I think. So it's like nobody fucking believes that Damage Control is going to lose those fucking titles anytime soon. So thanks.
At least they're defending them. They're on every program, which
right.
is what we look to see. But yeah, I don't know. Shane and Zoe don't do much for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean it's just like weird, like the Rhea and Io stare down. It's like we're not going to get anything out of it. So what?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
It's just, I mean, they must know something we don't clearly, but it's hard. And then so we didn't. I wouldn't say this is a negative for me because it was interesting how people talk about. We didn't really talk about the end of Raw, but we could talk about that in a minute. But the one thing I did want to talk about here, not necessarily heat, but it's not necessarily shine either, is we're getting a gauntlet match next week, which is going to take up a lot of time on Monday Night Raw, which again, in theory, I don't mind, right? And a lot of people were talking about, it should have been a ladder match or whatever, or maybe the ladder match should have been the number one contendership on a Raw or something like that. Gunther shouldn't lose this match at WrestleMania in a multi-man. That makes no fucking sense. Having it in a ladder match, losing in a ladder match doesn't make any fucking sense. So I understand getting there to him having a one-on-one thing, but I feel like the rest of the field is everybody and Gable. Like, that's the way I've looked at it. Like, it might be Sammy. If it comes down to Sammy and Gable, then I'm on the edge of my seat. But still feels like it's got to be Gable, right?
Sammy or Gable. I think it depends, because if it's Gable, then I think Gunther's losing at WrestleMania. If it's Sammy, I could see Gunther retaining at WrestleMania. But look, I'm kind of a sucker for gauntlets. I'm kind of the target audience. Ugh. I love that shit. I find them fun because it's an element of surprise. And at the end of the day, like, you're fighting for something. So I don't have issues with it. And they obviously clearly made a choice with the 6 individuals they choose. They chose wrestling. So I think it'll be a good amount of time spent on this next Monday. And I think I will enjoy that time spent on it next Monday.
Can I ask you from a perspective of just take yourself out of enjoying it for a second? Because you said you like gauntlets. Do you think this is lazy booking in a way?
No.
Because I think it is a lazy booking.
Like, why? You're saying making number one contender matches?
No. I'm just saying
lazy booking would be like, you get a match. You get a match. It would have, like, lazy booking would have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw you all in a ladder match or WrestleMania.
Because this match potentially could go an hour, right? You would think that's like 1/3
of the program. It does. because it's not one match. You got
Oh,
when
it's
you look at a
several,
gauntlet,
I
you're looking
know.
at Ron. It's one
5.
match, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 5 matches, so
Right.
it should go an hour, probably
No,
45
I
minutes
just
to an
and
hour.
again, most of these will be fine. I have a problem, but like it's the let me downs of like, the Shinsuke's of the world, and the like Bronson Reed's fine in doses,
You gotta
obviously,
fill
but
it out, man. You gotta
no, I
fill it
know.
out.
I just feel like we're gonna have to wait 45 minutes to get the fucking once Gable and Sami Zayn have to pass each other, hopefully.
Yeah,
That's when
well,
I'm
you
gonna
know
be
why,
interested.
Nestlemania? What did I say earlier? This is for fast food. My television is when I enjoy my meal. A gauntlet match is a fucking buffet, baby, because you got a lot of choices, a lot of options, and it's all you can eat. It's all you can eat, baby. Ain't no fast food there. So you got to work through it to fill that belly, baby. And I'm all for it and I'm ready to go.
Belly baby. Okay. Anything else, or would you like to go to get hopeful?
Let's go hopeful.
Glorious. You're my only hope. So look, we don't really have to talk about specific hopes we have this week, but I do want to expand upon the tag match that is essentially a foregone conclusion here. We have The Rock and Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Night 1, supposedly. People are saying night 2 now. I don't know. We'll find out. I assume it would be night 1, but what the fuck? If the Bloodline wins, it's Bloodline rules. If the Bloodline loses and Cody wins, then there is a Bloodline free WrestleMania main event on night 2. I'm curious what you think, because there are a lot of scenarios that can happen here. Here's what I would think. These are things that I think are tough. Then maybe you can iron these out for me, JC, to make sense, or maybe you're on the same plane. And anybody else that's listening, let me know how you feel. I personally think if I had to pick right now, I think Bloodline wins night 1. That way you make the insurmountable odds of Cody Rhodes, right? I don't see how you can have Seth Rollins turn on Cody Rhodes because he still has to face Drew McIntyre. And I think if you had a heel Seth Rollins and a heel McIntyre, it doesn't make any sense for that matchup. I think in order for McIntyre's, kind of whole thing to work out here, McIntyre needs to be like, well, you shouldn't have fucking been an asshole there and won the first match or lost the first match, blow your load there. I'm just going to pick up the pieces and win, which I would think would happen. But having Cody win the first one and then Cody win the second one, I could also see that The Rock would still interject himself somehow at the end anyway, and then, pull a fast one and help Cody win as well. But I'm curious, there's a lot of scenarios here.
I think people are overthinking this one because to me, it's pretty simple. First and foremost, I'm glad they gave this match stakes because if this was just a match with no stakes, it wouldn't have been as good. We have stakes. I didn't love how The Rock just got there because I feel like there should have been a struggle to get these stakes, but whatever. We have stakes and you laid them out, and I'm glad we have them because it gives the match meaning. This will main event night 1. And I think people are overthinking it. It's pretty simple what's going to happen. There's going to be a fucking ego off between Roman and Rock, and one of them is going to turn on the other one. I think the easy answer is The Rock turns on him, walks out on him, maybe gives him a rock bottom, leaves his carcass in the ring for Cody to have the opportunity to win the title fair and square the next night, which it'd be full circle from the moment where Cody originally asked him for advice, and maybe it was The Rock finally seeing the light that his cousin's a fucking asshole and he shouldn't have aligned with him, even though he's family. Sometimes things are thicker than blood, whatever. So I think that's the most obvious thing. I think people are just overthinking it. And it'll set up Rock and Roman at WrestleMania most likely next year. They'll have their mega match. There won't be titles involved, and we'll all be very happy and excited to see it. Option number 2, yes, The Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns, but here's the thing. Roman's a jealous fucking man. He is a jealous fucking man. And standing next to The Rock's going to get a lot of attention. Most of the attention, probably more than Roman Reigns, which will make Roman jealous, which means Roman could turn on The Rock and kind of fuck up and ruin it for himself, and then Cody and Seth take an opportunity. But I would be very surprised, very, very, very surprised if Rock and Roman won, and then we just had a fucking Hodgepalooza fucking gaga match in the fucking main event. I think the most likely scenario is Cody and Seth win because of a bloodline implosion. And yes, I think that'll eventually cost Seth his title, which will down the line, who knows, maybe the next night on Raw or down the line will lead to Seth blaming Cody for it and setting up their feud, because Seth will go in less than 100% night 2, lose to McIntyre, lose his title, blah, blah, blah. So I think all these things people are considering. I think the simplest option, I think, is the most likely and probably storyline wise, the most satisfying, because All this does is he can be like, oh, but then The Rock helped Cody. It's like, no. The Rock made it so Cody has a fair one-on-one match the next night. Like, that's what this gaga and nonsense night one would lead to, is a fair one-on-one match between Cody and Roman. Who's the better man? Cody is. Finishes his story cleanly without the gaga, just about him and Roman and that title in the middle of that ring. That fucking story ends. But the night before, the bloodline story picks up for the first time in a long time and sets up Rock and Roman down the line with their beef. And eventually, because what did Cody say when before he like flip-flopped and all this? He said he wanted to take everything from Roman. That is more than the title. Night one represents everything else being taken from Roman, because he is now naked and afraid night two against my fucking American Nightmare over there, who's going to fucking strip that thing from him. So I think think simple, stupid. That's my advice here, because I think all these scenarios, it's all going to be fleshed out, but I think the simplest thing is what will happen.
I think you're probably right. I do want to have this wrinkle in here as well, because it was brought up to my attention, and I think a lot of people, a lot of casuals would fucking lose their shit. The Rock went out of his way on Friday to say something along the lines of like, there ain't nobody that can stop me. And I went and thought to myself, look, it could be that it would be, maybe on some God greener, Triple H gets, involved, but he does have the pacemaker. He does have a heart problem. So that probably isn't the most important thing to think about. The thing that I thought would be even better would be, I don't know if it's night one or night two, but to have Stone Cold Steve Austin with the glass shatter and come out and beat up The Rock, to have that Rock and Austin thing one more time. Doesn't have to be a match, because we know Austin's kind of wherever, and we know Rock's probably doing okay, but I think having Stone Cold Steve Austin interject himself like that, I know, of course we know JC is going to end up probably hating this idea, but I think that having The Rock, having some type of interaction with Triple H, or having some type of interaction with Austin, leads to the specialness of the didn't call it kind of, mentality that they're trying to go for WrestleMania, because they're trying to pull out surprises. They're trying to pull out fun stuff that you wouldn't expect, because WrestleMania is about trying to have those huge moments, right? We know Cody most likely is going to get his moment. That's going to be the moment. But The Rock's going to try his damnedest too to have his moment as well. So that's what I'm thinking personally, is that if seeing Triple H get involved, or more importantly, seeing the glass break one more time with The Rock, would be very interesting to me. But again, that's just my 2 cents about it, because honestly, it's really difficult to kind of call this thing, which I enjoy. But at the same time, what is going to transpire on Saturday night directly affects Sunday night. But I just feel like, because of what Stone Cold was able to do with KO, I feel like they can continue to do it over and over and over again. So for me, that's where I'm headed with it, but I'm not 100% sure that it's going to happen, but I'll leave it up to everybody else to discuss that on their own. But yeah, it's interesting. This tag match is definitely going to be interesting, because I feel like there's a lot at play here. There's a lot of stakes. There's a lot of interest in it. So I think The Rock did a fantastic job, even though I hate saying it, adding the stakes. Cody did a good job, all that stuff as well. So we're on our way. We're on our way to wrestling at WrestleMania. It'll be fun for everybody. I hope JC doesn't have a fucking conniption, because honestly, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm trying to stall as long as humanly possible, but I think he had to go potty. So anyway, I'm going to give my my comeback. I think now that I'm going to be waiting here for a little while longer. Don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years, but folks, he's not been on TV for a very long time, and that is Apollo Crews. I jumped out of my seat. I was very excited to see Apollo Crews get his fucking, his moment there for just a half a second. And of course, he got a jobber alert almost with our boy Andrade. And look, I love Apollo Crews. He did a great job. I'm happy for him. He gets my comeback. But I will say this much. Apollo Crews did what he could in that matchup, but it was really all about, Andrade. Just the presentation of Andrade, Alito, and all that stuff was kind of phenomenal. I thought that was wonderful. But the other thing too is, you look at it from a perspective of, is Andrade going to be different this time around? I don't know. I really don't know. I like the way that they presented him. And I think he did a great job. He looks, gassed to the gills, which is always nice. But then at the end, he had the same fucking finish. And honestly, not a big fan of that finish. You know how I feel. We've talked about it in this program many a time. It looked like he was a man fumbling around trying to take off a bra for the first time. But God damn it, it's tough. It's very, very, very tough. And I don't know what to do with, Andrade. I don't know what to do with that finish. I mean, he's got the running knees into the turnbuckle, which is great. I think that's fine. I just don't like the finish. A lot of people don't mind it, but man, it's rough. It's very, very, very rough. But what are you going to do? Hopefully the sky's the limit for him. But again, Apollo Crews, wonderful job doing what he can. He's in the back part of his career probably, but man, Andrade and Apollo Crews doing whatever they can at this point. I hope JC's okay because I've been trying to stretch as long as humanly possible here. Up there he is. Okay. You all right? Want to make sure you're all right.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I had to piss like a racehorse.
Okay, well, that was the longest piss in fucking history because I tried stretching, man, and that was rough.
I know. I was sitting there like I really had to go.
That's okay. So I already did my comeback, so that we're way past that at that point. My only thing was very quickly as I was saying, what if Stone Cold Steve Austin got involved to have or Triple H to go on one-on-one with The Rock, but that's beside the point.
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right, give him your comeback.
My comeback supports a man who spits in the face of people who think they're cool. Carlito and Santos. I thought it was fun. I love me a good little street fight. But Rey Mysterio, booyaka, 619. He's back, baby. Makes sense. Setting up for that Rey Santos match, which we expect at WrestleMania. I'm hoping they don't give us like a multi-man bullshit here. I'd like to see these guys go one-on-one and pay off this feud. So it was nice to see Rey back. I thought it would be coming soon because it made sense. They kind of delayed this Carlito match just to kind of set this up, but it's nice to have Rey back. It'll be good to have him on the Mania card, and it's a spot I think Santos deserves, so I'm excited for it.
Okay, time for the big old finish then. Let's talk about it.
Big old finish. We'll start on SmackDown Nestlemania. We have Bobby Lashley taking on Karrion Kross.
Got to be chicanery, right? Some habnabbery and then some type of gaga, you think?
It feels like a lot of gaga in that one. We have Logan Paul returning, so we'll see if his match with Randy Orton will truly be a one-on-one match or if KO will be involved in it. AJ and LA Knight, if they fit in at all, we will see. Probably have some questions answered. And then we also have, as we discussed in length a few moments ago, Cody and Seth answering the Bloodline Challenge, which they kind of already did. So,
do you think that the WrestleMania card, just based on everything, that it could be Logan Paul and the fucking goofballs versus KO, Sammy, and RKO in a six-man?
I think it's more likely that they could throw this as like a ladder match. This could be because you have Randy KO and then you could throw in Knight and Styles. I'd keep them on their own, but you could do like Theory and Waller and find someone else on SmackDown. I think that might be where they go. I've kind of tucked myself. I know a Logan Paul, Randy Orton one-on-one match, but WrestleMania. Do you know who's main evented 2 recent WrestleManias? Kevin Owens. Yeah. It's going to be hard to not have him on the card, so they got to find him a spot somewhere.
Sami Zayn's been doing pretty good too, by just saying, but it is what it is.
Sammy will have a match, so I'm not worried about him. We head over to Raw Nestlemania. We didn't really talk about this much, but we have Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch as Liv kind of broke up her rematch there with Nia Jax. We have the Gauntlet match we discussed and the women's tag titles match between the Kabuki Warriors and Shayna and Zoe, as we discussed as well.
Not a lot there that I mean, the Gauntlet will be fine. I like that, but I like I said, Gable and fucking Sammy have to cross paths for me to get excited. The other 2 matches are foregone conclusions in my head, so we know one's going to be a DQ and the other one's going to be fucking academic, as we say.
Yeah, I'm curious what the plan is for the women's tag titles at Mania, because it feels like the Kabuki Warriors are just running through everyone, but it just screams like fucking multi-woman fucking bullshit match that we're getting.
What if they had the women's tag titles in a fucking like TLC match? That'd be pretty fucking dope.
It would be, but I highly doubt they do it.
I just think the Kabuki Warriors are the right people for TLC. I would fucking love that shit.
Anything to get fucking Kyrie diving off shit with an umbrella again, or a parasol, whatever you want to call it.
Fucking awesome. I would think that would be wonderful. Anything else?
I ain't got much else. I know you teased Roadblock off the top. I haven't got through it yet.
It's okay.
I had a busy day today, and we had some news from a coworker last night, so I got home late. So I watched Dijak and Gacy. That was about it, and that was about what I expected. It was a psychopath match, but I'm looking forward to the rest of it because If I finished it, I probably would have given someone else my comeback this week, but I didn't want to be I don't know what the word is.
A fraud.
Sure, that's not the word I would go with, but along those lines.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much the end of this program. We thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.
And hopefully no bathroom breaks.